Many students question why they should read in English when they already attend language classes, do homework, watch movies in English, and engage in conversations. These are all valuable activities, but none of them can substitute for the profound benefits that come from reading. Reading isn't just an additional task to help with language learning. It's an essential, powerful method for mastering a language on multiple levels. It provides a means of internalizing vocabulary, grasping grammar structures, expanding context, and fostering a deep engagement with the language. In today's fast-paced world, with constant developments in technology, education, and job markets, the ability to read well has become an increasingly vital skill. Decades ago, many successful people didn't attend college and might not have needed advanced reading skills to thrive in their careers. However, today's world is much more complex. Regardless of your profession, reading comprehension plays a critical role in your ability to process information, stay informed, and grow in your career. Imagine trying to operate in any job field without understanding reports, manuals, regulations, or even news updates. Reading skills are not just academic requirements, but real-world necessities. From business executives to engineers, from teachers to technicians, reading forms a core part of professional competence. Whether it's digesting complex texts, analyzing data reports, or simply staying informed on industry trends, those who read regularly and with comprehension have a distinct advantage. This is particularly true as workplaces increasingly rely on written communication. Emails, reports, project documents, and instructions all demand clear and effective reading skills. Those who read well and read often naturally find themselves better positioned to succeed professionally. Beyond this practical application, reading also provides significant cognitive benefits. It exercises the brain, strengthens neural connections, and improves concentration, all while helping to reduce stress levels. Studies have shown that reading, especially for pleasure, can increase empathy, improve emotional intelligence, and enhance our ability to understand complex issues from multiple perspectives. These skills, developed through regular reading, not only make us better communicators, but also better problem solvers and collaborators. For language learners, regular reading doesn't just help improve vocabulary or comprehension. It impacts nearly every aspect of language acquisition, including speaking and writing. By consistently exposing yourself to well-written English, you absorb the nuances of the language in a way that grammar drills or vocabulary lists alone cannot teach. You begin to intuitively understand the rhythm of sentences, the use of punctuation, and even how words and phrases are used contextually. These elements are not learned in isolation, but are naturally acquired when reading texts regularly. Think of it like this. Every book, article, or story is a language laboratory where you see the language in action. You are not simply memorizing rules or vocabulary. You are witnessing the real-world application of English. As you read, you come across the same grammatical structures, the same sentence patterns, and the same types of phrases over and over again. Slowly, these become ingrained in your mind, allowing you to use them naturally when you speak or write. There's a fascinating experiment conducted in American schools that underscores the value of reading for pleasure. In this study, Young boys were given access to books that they had chosen themselves, books that they were genuinely interested in. The boys were told that they didn't have to read them if they didn't want to. But as it turned out, many of them eagerly dove into the books. Some boys even read a book every 2 days. What the researchers discovered was that, over time, the boys who read for pleasure showed remarkable improvements in their reading and writing skills compared to their peers who were only doing traditional grammar exercises or reading assigned texts that they found boring. What's more, the boys who were engaged in reading for pleasure not only improved academically, but also developed a love for learning. They enjoyed school more, participated more actively in discussions, and even demonstrated better social skills, likely because reading helps people develop empathy and a deeper understanding of human emotions and experiences. And this phenomenon wasn't just limited to students in the US. Similar studies conducted in the Fiji Islands and Singapore have produced the same results. Students who read regularly, whether in silence or with guidance, outperform those who only practice traditional methods in language and grammar tests. This speaks volumes about how reading impacts not just academic success, but personal growth. Reading isn't merely a task to check off a list. It's a gateway to lifelong learning, curiosity, and engagement with the world. Of course, many students hesitate to start reading in English because they fear it will be too difficult. They envision themselves getting stuck on every other word, constantly reaching for a dictionary, and losing interest as a result. This is a valid concern. Reading in a new language can be challenging at first. However, the trick is to start with something manageable, something that doesn't overwhelm you. You should aim to read material where you can understand at least 98% of the text without needing a dictionary. When you can understand the majority of the content, your brain can naturally infer the meaning of unfamiliar words from the context. This process helps you build your vocabulary organically without interrupting the flow of reading. Here's an example to illustrate the point. Imagine reading these 2 sentences. Jerry fled out of bed and opened the curtains. He blamed to himself as he made breakfast. He made coffee and put butter on his puffer. Jerry jumped out of bed and opened the curtains. He sang to himself as he made breakfast. He made coffee and put butter on his toast. While the first sentence may seem confusing due to the nonsensical words blamed and puffer, the second sentence is much clearer. Even if you didn't know the word sang, you would still likely understand the general meaning based on the surrounding context. This is the type of reading material you should aim for. Texts where the meaning is mostly clear, even if a word or two is unfamiliar. Over time, as you continue to read, you'll find that your vocabulary grows naturally and effortlessly. Some students worry that reading fairy tales, novels, or other fun texts won't help them learn the specialized vocabulary they need for their careers. If they're preparing for a business meeting or studying for an exam in a scientific field, shouldn't they focus on business journals or academic texts? While it's true that specialized texts are important, research has shown that reading novels and other forms of fiction can still provide significant benefits. Studies have revealed that approximately 8% of the words in novels come from academic word lists, those same lists that students study for university entrance exams or professional certification tests. Additionally, another study demonstrated that reading 1 million words of science fiction helped students learn important vocabulary related to science. So even if you're reading fiction, you're still absorbing words and phrases that will be useful in more formal or academic contexts. This is because language isn't confined to one specific domain. When you read, you're encountering the full spectrum of the language, from conversational expressions to more technical terms, within a meaningful context that helps cement them in your memory. In 2017, I decided to put this theory to the test with my own language learning experiment. I had been studying Spanish for some time and wanted to see if reading alone could help me improve my language skills. My goal was to read 1 million words in Spanish, a daunting task that would be roughly equivalent to reading 40 novels. I started with simple texts like children's books, then moved on to translations of books I'd already read in English, like Harry Potter and Game of Thrones. Gradually, I worked my way up to more complex texts, eventually reading works by Latin American authors like Isabel Allende and Jorge Luis Borges. The results of this experiment were astounding. By the time I had read my 1 millionth word, I found that I could understand almost everything I encountered in Spanish, whether it was a novel, a news article, or a conversation. I didn't just improve my vocabulary, I gained a deep understanding of the language's structure, its grammar, and its nuances. All of this happened without me ever sitting down to formally study grammar rules or vocabulary lists. My knowledge of Spanish grew naturally through the simple act of reading. One of the most important things I learned from this experience is that the key to language learning is enjoyment. As Stephen Krashen, a renowned linguist, has pointed out, students learn best when they are engaged with material that they enjoy. This is why it's so important to choose reading material that interests you. Don't feel pressured to read something just because it's on a recommended reading list. If you love detective stories, read detective stories. If you enjoy comics, read comics. If you're passionate about history, find a historical novel that captivates your attention. When you read something that you love, you'll find that you naturally want to read more. And the more you read, the more you learn. This brings us back to the heart of the matter. Why should you read in English? Because reading provides a unique, immersive experience that no other form of language learning can match. It allows you to engage with the language at your own pace, to explore topics that interest you, and to develop a deep, intuitive understanding of English that will serve you well in every aspect of your life. Whether you're preparing for exams, advancing your career, or simply looking to communicate more effectively, reading is a powerful tool that will help you achieve your goals. So start today. Pick up a book, an article, or even a comic, whatever excites you, and dive in. You don't need to understand every word. What matters is that you're reading, that you're enjoying it, and that you're learning along the way. The more you read, the more you'll discover the beauty and richness of the English language, and the more confident and capable you'll become as a speaker, writer, and learner. Reading is a cornerstone of language learning that enhances not only your vocabulary, but also your speaking, writing, and even listening skills. It's one of the most enjoyable and effective ways to improve your English. While classes, homework, and films play their part, reading allows you to engage deeply with the language on your own terms. Start small, find books or stories that you love, and gradually work your way up to more challenging texts. Remember, the journey is just as important as the destination. So enjoy the process and embrace the growth that comes with it.